faces, familiar faces, new faces, exciting. I don't know what I agreed to getting up here. It was interesting, I was watching on the side here, and Patrick had all of you guys stand up. All of you guys that had mobile devices, cell phones, stand up, and he talked to you a little bit. I wasn't really surprised. Every single one of you had a cell phone. Wasn't surprised. It's still amazing though. And it speaks so much to kind of what we're here to talk about today. This kind of idea that mobile devices are an extension of who we are. That they're kind of changing the way we shop. We're kind of calling it a revolution. And I know revolution is such a corny word, right? We're so numb to the idea that something is a marketing revolution because we use it all the time, right? You know, marketers use it to overhype things, to sensationalize things. You know how like the Snuggie revolutionized the blanketing experience, right? But this is a little bit different. This isn't really the product or a service. It's kind of changing the way we act, and it's changing the way we buy things, and it's changing the way we find information about stuff. It's kind of changing the paradigm of marketing channels. And think about it. Think about how you're using a mobile device. It's changing too. Think about you and your phone in the last couple of years. Think about the way you create things. It's different now. You take pictures with your phones and you send them to your friends. The way you shop, the way you do research. You could compare prices in the store to products in other stores. The way you're making buying decisions is changing. The way we're communicating, texting, emailing, social media, Twitter, Facebook, all those things are happening on the phone for the most part. It's changing. It's revolutionary. And technology always pushes boundaries. It's not a new idea or new concept. Refrigerators replaced the ice business a long, long time ago. Plastics changed the way the manufacturing industry worked. There was a before and an after. More recently, if we're talking about modern history, the personal computer. Everyone's familiar with it. And it's not hard to argue that it changed the way we did business. There was a clear before and a clear after. Because you could see the way business was operating before and after. You could see the results. There's no going back. But it's easy after a revolution. It's easy to look in the rearview mirror and say, oh, whoa, wow, we just left a revolution. It's because you can see the before and the after. When you're in the eye of the storm, though, it's a little bit trickier. When you're trying to take in all the numbers, see the trends, it's much more complicated. And there's always going to be the naysayers. This is Ken Olsen of Digital Equipment Corp, which later became Compaq, which became Hewlett-Packard, a relatively large PC selling company. Oh, I can't really read that, sorry. Ken Olsen says, there is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home. I would disagree just a tiny little bit. And it's easy to poke fun after the fact, right? Because we all know how it turned out. But he wasn't alone. There's always people like this, and it's not a bad thing. It's just there's always the critics. Thomas Watson of IBM once said, I think there's a world market for maybe five computers. Not 5 million, not 5 billion, 5 decimal zero. Idiot. But he wasn't alone. There's always, every iteration of technology, there's always going to be the people that say, no, this isn't it. This isn't the time. This isn't a game changer. But there's also people that are visionaries. There's always the people that can see the application of technology and see what it could do to the business world, to the individual, and to society. These two gentlemen behind me, they weren't even close to starting these. They didn't invent the personal computer. But they saw where it could be applied. And they were early movers. They were able to take the idea of the personal computer and adapt it to business and social needs, and they profited. They saw the light. And it was revolutionary. They changed the way business works. Just think about it. If you were a large transnational corporation, and you had an accounting department, because you would need one. You would need to put all these accountants in this large building and fill it with bodies. Say 32 bodies in this example. And if you wanted to do your year-end, your books, your income statements, it would take all of these people a couple weeks to figure that information, because they didn't have computers. There was no such thing as an ad hoc income statement. It would take 2 weeks to compile the information and come up with the numbers. 2 days into getting your income statement, it's already out of date. Can you imagine your business like that now? I can't. It's impossible. There was a clear before and a clear after, and those people that didn't adapt were forced to, or aren't here anymore. We were able to bring 32 bodies down to 6 bodies and their computers, because they were more productive, more efficient, and could produce results quicker. And companies adapted. And this happens every 10 to 15 years. This went on for a while. We embraced PCs. Businesses embraced computing. And 10, 15 years passed, and like technology does, it iterates. And something else happened again. Something changed. Because now, these 6 computers and these 6 people can be in any corner of the world and communicate. They could share ideas, they could collaborate, and they could produce results. And they don't even have to be in the same building anymore. It was the rise of what we call now the internet. And I don't really need to tell you how important that is. Everyone kind of remembers that because, well, I do. And I know I'm not the youngest guy in the room here. But it changed things, and it changed how businesses work. It killed business, and it created new businesses. Like, think about it. If you want to book your flight to Vegas for a little getaway, you don't need to go to your local travel agent anymore. You go online. You don't need to get up and read your physical newspaper in the morning. And it's also not only it is also not your only option for advertising. You can book your table for dinner online. You could download your favorite movie, TV show, anytime you want, anywhere you want. It was the death of the traditional record store. It changed everything. The interesting thing about the internet revolution, if that's what we're going to call it, is the window of opportunity was so much smaller for businesses to take advantage. If we were to look at the adoption rate for consumers and for PCs, it took about 50 years for PCs to hit a 50% adoption rate in the market. And that was groundbreaking. That was revolutionary. That no other technology has ever done that. Print's not really technology. Radio, TV, phone, none of these things ever were able to accomplish it. This was groundbreaking, and this blew people away. Internet was adopted much, much quicker. It accomplished in 10 to 15 years what the PC took 50 years to do. The window of opportunity for businesses to embrace the change narrowed significantly. And that tends to happen with every iteration of technology. It gets adopted quicker because the prior generation allows us to adopt the current generation sooner. Which brings us to mobile, which is what we're talking about today. And it's even more remarkable. Again, if we look at the same stats, if we look at PCs and internet adoption rates, and then we plot mobile over top of that, we're starting to see a familiar trend. It's revolutionary. It's getting adopted at a much quicker pace, and the window of opportunity is shrinking every iteration. In fact, there are more phones sold every single day, so iPhones, Android, any cell phone you want to put on the market, there are more phones sold every single day in personal computers. Every day. Even when PCs were in their boom in the 80s and 90s. It's such a fast-growing device. There are more internet subscriptions every day to mobile devices than PCs, so your cell phone plans that get on the internet. Or more of those created every single day than traditional broadband connections. The United Nations came out with an interesting stat. The UN said there are currently, they estimate, 7 billion mobile subscriptions. Billion. You're doing the math, I know. So many of us have multiple devices now. It's huge. If you want to focus the lens, look a little bit closer to home, we look at the Americas, this is a tongue twister, International Telecommunications Union. They came out with some numbers, and they estimated there were 150 million broadband connections in the Americas. Broadband, when we were talking these last 10 years about how you have to get on the internet because that's where all your customers were, it's such a huge market, that's that number. That's the 150 million. That's the people that we'd be telling you you have to get online to connect with. And that's a huge number. That's a large audience. We made a big deal about that. Mobile broadband is twice as big. There are twice as many mobile broadband connections in the Americas than there are traditional broadband connections. So that's your iPhones, your Androids, pretty much most of the things in this room. This market is twice as big as the fixed broadband. But if you've ever been part of like a website discovery process or production, everyone's first concern is, how does it look on my PC? How does it look on my monitor? Why? Why is that what we're always focused on? when the mobile market is twice the size? Shouldn't that be the main concern? Why is it always an afterthought? Like, take it back another step. If we just look at cell phones in general, the mobile marketplace is 1 billion subscriptions in the Americas. It dwarfs fixed broadband. Why is it always an afterthought? The reach of mobile is larger than any other medium combined. Take TV, and I know these are hard to believe, but these are facts. Take TV, take radio, take print. Sorry, don't take print. That's not part of the fact. But take radio, any electronic medium, the reach of mobile is larger. It is such large channel to take advantage of. And people are buying mobile too. This is just from last week, Black Friday. Apparently there was some sale in the States. Black Friday. IBM released some benchmark stats. They compared 2011 to 2012, and they asked shoppers. So in 2011, they found, from their research, 18% of people researched the store that they were going to go buy stuff from on Black Friday on their mobile device before they went there. So they already knew what they were looking for. This, just a few weeks ago, it was 28%. A 10% jump in 1 year. These are where impressions are being made now, mobile. The actual payments, last year again, 10.3% people said they bought something on Black Friday directly from their phone, directly from their mobile device. They didn't even go to the store, they didn't go to their desktop. The purchase was made on their phone because the store is allowed them to do so. This year, 14.5, 4 to 5% bump, growing trends. PayPal released some numbers too from last week. They saw a 3-fold increase in global mobile payments. 190% increase in 1 year of the amount of payments being made directly on a phone. I'm not talking about looking people up, but that's actually like paying for stuff on your phone. Huge jump. People are buying. And it's easy for me to say mobile revolution. I see it. I see it when every single one of you guys stood up today, because you all had phones. I see it when I go to the superstore and I see, someone comparing prices on products. I see it. I go to my brother's house and I see my nephew and he's playing on his iPad and he's better at it than I am. There's an entire generation of consumers being raised on mobile devices. They haven't touched a PC. This is becoming their main platform of communication and research. But we're always considering it an afterthought. And we got to stop thinking of mobile as just phones. We say phones first of all, but it's not. It's not just your iPhone. It's not your Samsung. It's your iPads, your tablets, your notes. It's your e-readers, your Kobe's, the chapters one, I don't know. It's even your kids' video game systems now too, because every single device is becoming internet ready now. Every single device has a capability to get online and make their first impressions with a brand, to find information about products. In Asia, mobile devices are what we call first screen devices. Essentially what that means is if you want to find out more information about a product, more information about a company, or a brand, or settle a bet at a bar with your friend, the first place you go to is your phone or your mobile device. You don't research on your PC, on average. Everything you do is on your mobile device first. That has huge implications because your first brand impressions are happening mobile. Are you making a good mobile first brand impression? Sony projects in 2 years, North America is going to act in the very same way, where mobile devices are first screen devices. But cell phones have been around for 10, 15 years. The big bricks, I kind of vaguely remember them. But why now? What's kind of changed to actually make this a topic of conversation? Why is this a big deal now as opposed to 5, 10, 15 years ago? For businesses to capitalize on kind of the mobile or any sort of technology iteration, 3 things have to be there. First is the audience. And the audience has always been there in this case. The numbers have shown it, I've shown it, and I think you just have to look around to know that the numbers are already there. The big thing that we've always struggled with was the technology. Just until recently, we haven't been able to deliver the experiences we wanted to. The processing power of phones allow us to produce experiences that we couldn't do before, crunch data that we couldn't do before, do it at speed that we couldn't imagine before. Those broadband networks, you always hear on those Sprint and Verizon commercials, like 3G, 4G, LTE, they're half marketing gimmicks, but they're also half iterations of technology. These things, every time you hear one of those bigger numbers, it means that the amount of information that we can pull into a phone is drastically increased. The amount of data consumers can bring into their hands, bring into their pockets, is increasing exponentially every single there's a new generation. And we can push more data to consumers. The screen sizes, we can deliver richer, deeper, larger interactive experiences than we could ever dream of before. We can engage people with our brands at a level that was impossible just a few years ago. The technology has been here for a couple of years. But it's never too late to be early, I suppose. What's the missing piece of the pie? What's stopping businesses from embracing this, pushing this technology even further? Well, it's a trick question. It's actually a business. Business needs to jump on the bandwagon, because as soon as the first few businesses start seeing the results, and businesses are seeing results, it starts encouraging more investment in the idea, more people going mobile. As soon as it becomes a reliable platform, you're going to start seeing the profits. And really, at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. This idea that we need to start focusing on mobile and how to execute and focus on mobile. Shortly after I get off stage, I'm not sure the order, but Jason Mann from Vista Radio is going to be up here. It's a large broadcasting company with radio stations all across Canada, and he's going to talk about their mobile strategy, how big companies embrace a content strategy for smaller devices. We have Michael from Tom Harris Cellular to actually show you the devices that I'll be talking about, how they're faster, what they could do. When I talk about this technology I was iterating, he's going to share that with you. We have Tom from Cloud SFY. He's going to be talking about cloud computing. It's another buzzword that you've been hearing, and how that works on mobile devices, and how that kind of changes how you will work in your office when you're not at your office. We also have Patrick and Nikki from Czek Creative, and I might join them, to talk about the actual mobile strategies that we could do to execute on the things I'm talking about. We also have, last but not least, or somewhere in the middle there, we have a video. We actually took the Welcome to Kelowna Street team, and we had them interview people all up and down Bernard, just about how they use their phones, what they use them for, what they like about them, what they hate about them, and we just have a 5-minute little piece on that, and I think that's really cute. But I've seen all the presentations. They're so good. You guys are going to learn so much. I'm so glad everyone came out today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.